understand more until Lee joins us. Okay, very good.
And did you promise him supper if he came with you?
No, I didn't actually.
Ruh-roh.
Stephanie's made the motion.
Stephanie made a motion to approve
Approve
Lee
Lee
Klein of these, to represent South Putnam
School board.
School Board.
Just to be a
Ju-
school board
just to
member
be a
on the redevelopment
School Board
commission.
member on the redevelopment commission, which is a non-voting.
Yes.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
All right. Mr. Gig seconds that. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, awesome. Pieces are coming together.
Thank you guys for coming.
Yes,
and
thank you.
explaining.
All right.
And again, I'm always available to help explain further. And again, if there's gonna be growth proposed, we will get somebody, the independent, expert.
To
come
assess.
in and give us a better financial picture of what that looks like with like all the changes also that the legislature is making to our property taxes, so it'll help.
But before we get to new business real quick,
Yes.
I kind of asked this question at the last meeting. Do we need some type of cash infusion into this board
You did ask,
from the county?
the only expense we had so far is a publishing expense for $31.
Yep.
It might not be bad to budget something for it with budgets coming up, so.
So you know what my next question is, because exactly, we have in 3 weeks, we have budgets, and the commissioners' budgets have already been submitted, but doesn't mean we can't amend something.
Correct.
So, what type of dollar amount are you thinking, because this has to last for a year? And I know everybody's gonna say we don't have a clue, so do you start at $1,000, you start at $10,000, you start at
10.
$20,000?
If you're gonna hire an outside expert to do anything, you're gonna.
I know, and that's where I'm going with this. Dealing with everything the county's dealing with right now, I'm about expert out on contracts and engineers and resolutions, and it's insane.
Well,
$500 an hour.
whether you're over or
$800
under,
an hour.
well, if you're under, you go, you come back in. I guess what I'm thinking is, I don't know what amount, it's not a dollar.
Because then we're gonna have to, the commissioner's gonna have to create a fund, or the council's gonna have to create a fund.
So it's gonna have to run
For this
all of
money to go
26.
through.
This is gonna have to last all of 26. And so if Boozy does what they say they're gonna do, then would that mean in 26 we'd have to do the assessment?
It only happens after the build happens, and the build's gonna probably take a year, so
So-
it might be 27. We don't-
I guess what I'm getting at is, what's the probability that you're gonna have to hire? Because if it's not an expert, if it's administrative stuff.
Right,
it's
well, just like the $32, we
it's-
need something.
Right, no.
Because we have to.
I had 1,000 in my mind, not thinking about
And-
hiring an expert.
And we have new business on the agenda, so we do
Yeah.
not know what that's going to create either, so, that's just my
I
thought of,
don't disagree.
we need to do something, because like I said, we have budgets coming in 2 weeks, and council didn't like the commissioners anyway, so, it's a.
I hate tying up a whole bunch of money,
No,
not without a high prospect of it. being-
absolutely.
But I would suggest 1,000 as a placeholder.
Okay,
Something
Okay,
to sit
well,
there.
my brain went 5 or 10, but if 1,000's it, then.
Well, if you hire an expert, it's gonna be,
If you're hiring,
it's gonna
more
be,
than 1,000.
but right now, that's Boozy doing something in 26.
what's the likelihood that the council will even approve a 1 or a 5 or a 10?
Yeah, I don't.
The lower the number, the higher the probability.
I don't,
Definitely.
I don't see a
I
problem
don't see a problem with it.
Here's the both side devil's advocate side of the thing, whatever you wanna call it. I've already had 2 people question me at the awesome Putnam County Fair that we just had, this past week we've created this TIF district for the county for the first time in its life, and do you guys even have a clue what you're doing, and what if we file, how do we know what you're doing with our money? Because we live in this world today of, we don't trust anybody in government. So where I'm going with that is, people coming out, Freedom of Information Acts, different things that we may have to provide information or do something. I don't know what that is, I'm merely I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but I'm just playing the devil's advocate here, cause we do have to bridge a whole year.
Right.
And that's why my brain went to the 5,000 or the 10,000. So, not that we just didn't have a big lawsuit filed against us 2 weeks ago anyway, that is part of this TIF district.
Right.
So,
But not because of it. Part of it, but not
it's
because
not
of it.
because of it, it's just because of growth that was denied.
Another thing to keep in mind is I think we could sell whatever, because once we start receiving proceeds in, then we don't need, you know,
No, I fully
agree.
I
But
fully get it,
I'm seeing what argument could we use, so, fine.
but it's gonna cost us something to rebuttal that argument, is my opinion. So, because of this world we live in.
But it's funny, they'll hit you up at the fair, but they won't come to
I
the
know.
public meeting.
Oh, yeah, that's how it always works.
But some will, but a
Yeah,
lot of them
right.
that'll stop you.
And our records are open, and I will
Exactly.
keep these records with Christina, so they, you know.
Like I said, I'm
know.
merely just doing the devil's advocate
Yeah, I
here,
understand,
okay?
I
So-
understand, yeah.
But I just, to me, I think we need some type of,
I agree. A
So
starting
$5,000,
spot.
whoever's making the motion, and give me.
I suggested 1,000, the reason being, we can demonstrate there are some administrative costs. It's sort of like you wouldn't put the evaluation in on Boozy Unsum, even though there's been talk, because that's all it's been talk. There's no paperwork, there's no ground broken or anything. I wouldn't put $10,000 aside unless I knew that or had a high expectation we were gonna hire some expert. So
so is
that's
that,
my
is that
rationale.
a motion?
That was 1,000 was a motion.
$1,000? So Mr. Gick makes a motion that we create a fund for the redevelopment commission, and the commissioners, put in their budget to add $1,000 to that, to start that fund. I don't know the correct way to say that, that's as close as I can get. Established. So, do we have a second for that? I will second that.
$1,000. We will
That is
request.
pending council approval.
Pending council
So
approval.
that motion has to pend council approval for the
Yeah.
2026 budget, which means that money will not be available if approved till
26.
January.
No, if something were to come up between now and then we would have to
We have to.
establish the fund early and then
And
do an
yes, we will.
additional.
Yeah.
100%.
Yes,
Hence the reason back to the new business coming at us, so.
right.
Okay? So that motion, let's vote everyone in favor of that, please say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Aye. Alright. Alright, it's 5-0. Okay, sorry about that, but I just,
I appreciate it,
it's
no,
something that needs to be done.
Good point.
Alright, we have new business, ready for new business?
we are.
If we haven't convoluted the waters enough, let's tackle new business, shall we?
Sure.
Gentlemen, South Street Residential TIF District, if you could please introduce yourselves.
Sure. I'll let my partner James Carroll pass out. I wasn't sure how many to bring or even how to actually prepare for the meeting, so I took a good guess, and guess what? I got 6.
Thank you.
All right, look at you go.
Thank you.
So, I appreciate you guys asking us here, and I know this is new for you guys, new for us. So what I wanted to bring today is, I'm David Drake of the Spire Building Group, and this is James Carroll of Spire Building Group. We're the owners of, obviously, the Spire Building Group. We, if you look at your folder here to the left, I've got Southern Acres Development is what we've been approved for in the County Commissioner's Office. July 14th, we were approved to go ahead and begin developing the South Street property. That property itself, if you go to the right-hand side of your folder there, you'll see a layout of the property that was approved. Okay? It looks like this document here. And if you guys would come up here and join, I didn't know you'd be here. I'd be happy to share. Okay. So what we have approved here is, just to kind of go through it, is we are going to have 26 triplexes and 8 duplexes, which are single-family dwellings, single-story, for a total of 94 units. Okay. If you look at the diagram here, this was what was approved at the commission. The next step on that approval will be August 16th, and that's the final tech review. And the reason that's important is because that will actually lay out where the final infrastructure will be with city sewer, city water, the sidewalks and the lighting, and the final specifications that we'll need for the development of the infrastructure. That's the last hurdle we have, which at this point in time indicates we have no additional hurdles because they're working, the county and the city's working directly with Fishback Consulting to have that done. So once that is done, then we have the green light then to begin our infrastructure development.
Did you say out loud where the address, or where the?
So we don't have an official address,
what
it's
street?
South Street.
So everyone can figure out where in Green,
Sure.
it's just on the outskirts, just on the outside of the city limits.
So it used to be the 2 Mile Fringe.
Yep.
So where is that, is if we know where the Graver addition is at there,
Yep.
sits on South Street and the old, and then
Go to Casey's and go east.
and go east, or
Towards the
or
air.
go towards Ivy Tech and turn
Yes.
right.
Yes.
And then the McCracken house is there, the old McCracken house is right there.
She's
It's the
got a
property
dog
not
in
next to, she just passed away, right?
Yes, she did, just pass away. Yes.
They have contacted us actually, wanted to
Okay.
know if we'd be interested in
That's-
working with them on their property. So that's the layout of the property. So I want to kind of go through some specifications of what we're doing here. So if you go back to the packet, basically it's 15.729 acres. We have targeted thus far that these are going to be single-story attached homes. There will be 2 car garages on those. Our target focus for the costing is between $315 and $350 on these, depending on the home unit and the options available to the buyer. And there are, and I don't want to jump back and forth, but in your packet are the design of the homes themselves. They're
On the right-hand side?
on the right-hand side, correct. If you look at, there's the duplex and the floor plan. Now, this is what we presented. We're still working on what the facade would look like on those. But as you can see there, we've actually built this house multiple times. My parents lived in a house like this, but it was a standalone.
This is not your first rodeo?
This is not our first rodeo.
Okay, all right.
So this would be the duplex, and then we have a triplex, okay? And that would be, and that is your next page, and that would be 26 triplexes, and I think I said this already. We have some options to add a second story in case for those younger people on some of the, on the elm, birch, or dogwood, but mostly we're focused on single-story homes. That is the sweet spot for most people right now. This is an HOA community. Another benefit, as we know, as people are getting older, they don't want to do the yard work, and then younger people are busy and not interested in doing yard work. The other side is the HOA also protects the integrity of the community with keeping the yards up to date, keeping the standards that we want to make sure we employ. The standards, actually, I've put in here also too, and that is also under the covenants and restrictions. That is on the second page, or on the on the other side of your document.
Yep.
I probably won't read through all these in general, but I think the important piece of this is that there are covenants and restrictions that will be governed by the HOA, again, to maintain the integrity of the community and also enforce, I'll say, standards that we want to make sure that everybody within Greencastle and Greencastle proper complies by. As I said, the HOA at the time will be actually be administrating the restrictions in place. This is very common, these restrictions, but again, it also maintains stability and also maintains standards. Okay, I'll give you a minute to take a look at those. But you know, we're not going to run businesses out of that. We're not going to have campers out of that. We want this to be a well-established, nice community that we're catering towards both first-time home buyers, I'll say retirees, and also that mid-income, middle management type employees, okay? The average size of the homes will be between 1610 and 1754. The garages will be actually a little bit deeper, about 22 feet deep, so you can actually get a pickup truck in them, and cars in them. All units will have a front porch. Many of these will have a 12 by 12 rear covered porch. One of the options would be a Four Seasons room, patios on the covered porches. All these, we're not going to be a builder grade here. We're going to be a mid-tier, so we're going to have granite within it, and tile in the wet areas. They'll all be total electric. They'll have driveways and sidewalks, two-car garage, as I made mention, and the buildings will vary in color, so we don't want just everything looking the same, okay? That's not the plan. The units will have landscaping. We still are working, that's part of the technical review. The county will have requirements on what the landscaping should look like for every one of the units. We will follow those guidelines. Okay? We're also making sure that we don't just have front ends on them, so we can have some character to the unit, so it looks much better than just a flat facade. Okay. There'll be a dog park at the back of it. If you we go back to the document, you'll see a retention pond at the back. That has moved over a bit to the middle, more centered. There'll be parking back there, access for all the residents. And then that area over there to the right, which is this area is approximately 3 acres, that will be green space, probably have a gazebo, that kind of an area, park-like setting is the plan for that. Okay. Now, I don't know if there's any question. I kind of covered a lot there. Not trying to jump around a lot, but there's a lot here. So, the reason that James and I chose to do this is we've actually live at Heritage Lake. We've been building for a number of years at Heritage Lake. We're strong members of the community, Greencastle community. First Fridays, all the activities. We've been on the comprehensive planning board and all that. But there's no place for families to go to. There's no place. We're running out of lots at Heritage Lake. We're just running out of building spaces. Okay, so again, we were approved to go forward. What we're looking at is, as we know, if you look at it, we know that there's economic impacts on new homes in the community. And in that, you've got also the need that we have out there for jobs. Right now, there are a magnitude of jobs that are in there. In my notes here, you'll see there's 115 open positions today within Greencastle within 10 miles. There's 110. That's provided by the Indeed software that's out there, tells you what positions are open. Now that's varying from cost to cost to cost. We also know that there are approximately 400 jobs that potentially be coming through Crown as they expand. They have talked to us and have said, when are we going to get more housing to support all the growth that's anticipated? I heard you guys talk about, there's no growth, boozy, and all those things. Part of that is there's no homes. Right now, the stats show that there's 47 homes available. The same homes have been available from month to month to month in Greencastle proper.
There's a home shortage all over the state, so.
What's that?
There's a home shortage all over the state.
Yes, I'm not telling you anything nobody knows, but for this specific area in Greencastle, that's where I focus this conversation.
So we were talking about that, so it is 1/2 of 1% homes available in the community.
Yeah.
So we're not even at 1% for homes available for sale in the community for what the size of the community is.
So, and I think you guys know this, but I just put it on there. So the economic impacts is you get the job creations of new housing and development created jobs in the construction industry. All our subs are local. So everybody we have either lives in Greencastle, lives at the lake, or lives in the Putnam County area. They're actually very excited if we get started because now they can go to one place and work. Okay. The economic influx of residents coming into the area with new homes. You've got the economic availability within the community, benefiting local business, creating more opportunities. Increased consumer spending. Obviously, we bring people in. We're going to have more disposable income in the area, contributing to the local economy. Community engagement. Obviously, when you bring people in, your committees and your school boards and all that, you have that opportunity for bringing in new ideas and new people into the area. And again, these are specifically to Putnam County. If you look at I'll say the specifics related to Greencastle, or I'm sorry, to the community, Putnam County is, as I said, as of 7/20/20, there's 125 positions available within the 10-mile radius of Greencastle. We're looking at providing increased revenue for local business in the county. Provide tax dollars to the city, county utilities, and the schools. As you talked, I heard you guys talk quite a bit about the schools have an influx. Proceeds from the Putnam County personal property taxes are used for funding the schools, the public transportation infrastructure, and municipal government. Property taxes is almost always used for the local projects and service for the federal state budget. Provides alternatives to adults looking for maintenance-free living, because there are a large amount of individuals living in Greencastle and Putnam County that they don't want to leave, but right now, maintenance-free living is primarily in the Hendricks County area and that surrounding area. That stuff's, every place you go is maintenance-free living, and we don't have those opportunities here for that right now.
And then, if I could,
Sure.
another thing is for these plans, every one of these plans, we've designed them to where a few tweaks on the floor plan, and they're all ADA. So, right now, as someone with a disability in a wheelchair, there are literally zero options for those people. For this, we can make entrance, no entrance showers. Everything is already set up in these plans to where we
Be
can make them
adjusted.
ADA.
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
so.
Again, we built this house for my parents, and they're not the best of health. So,
But very important, I think.
yeah. And then I think a big piece of this is this development of the community using the primary labor and supporting the local suppliers. Like we'll be working with Cash Concrete, Black's Lumber, Shoey's, a lot of the local suppliers, along with all the restaurants will benefit from the workers and those people that are moving into the area. Okay? There are some tax benefits, and you guys, obviously from your conversations, you're much better handle around taxes than I am, but we do know that the residents, if you move here, will pay 1.5% of taxes as opposed to being outside residents at 75%, okay, of your income taxes. Increased property taxes, I took the 2024 average, so we look at the homes being around that, if you take the high and the low, $330,000 range for the house. That's generating $2,574 based upon the 2024 tax rate. At 94, that's $241,956,000 annually on tax dollars. Okay. Numbers I could not find would be the sewer and water fees that would be available to the city of Greencastle, because it's all over the board. But we do know there would be that, and also the hookup fees that would be coming in as revenue. Okay. Now, as I said, we've been approved, we've cleared the property, we've bought the property, so we've got quite a bit of substantial investment already into it. So we want to move forward, but we do have our challenges. We are a local building firm. I mean, we're not a large mass builder. So right now, there are challenges that we have establishing actual cost of development due to the uncertainty of the infrastructure cost. The reason I say that is because we can't put anything out for bid until that goes through tech review. Tech review will tell us, yeah, where you're putting the sewers and everything. We have committed to the city of Greencastle that we will follow their standards on the utilities and the sewer and the water. So, and then we will use their vendors where need be to hook that up. Okay? So for future maintenance and future adoption of it, we shouldn't have issues there. Establishing our HOA. We're still working on what that HOA cost is going to be. Again, it's going to be based upon the features and functions and the selling price and where we can negotiate contracts with maintaining the property itself. Little note, we're going to make sure that we have one trash service so everybody has the same type of trash cans and picked up the same day. I know those are little things, but they're annoyances. But all those are in our contract negotiations that to work through. That will have a bearing on the HOA. Plus, we're going to make sure that we got a reserve for the HOA for future maintenance. Timing when we start the project. Again, we really got to nail down what the cost of the infrastructure is going to be on this, because that's going to be that's the driver. Because without a foundation, we can't start building the models and start building the homes. How we pay for that is also the other challenges. Right now, and this was as of 2 years ago, we talked to Shannon McCullough, I'll be full transparency. He said, you might be around $1.8 million to put in infrastructure. That's a guess. When you think about putting in the roads, the sidewalks, putting in all the sewer hookups and all that. With that, you're adding $19,200 to a home is what that comes to roughly. that tax onto, and that's not including the purchase of the property or the land that's already cleared, that's another 5,000. But the big thing is the infrastructure. So if you look at where we're gonna have to, that has to be pushed out, obviously, for the cost of homes, and we wanna try to keep the homes affordable. Holding our costs with suppliers, we've been having a hard time trying to get any bidding right now until we got actual dates, because 90 days is the most they're gonna guarantee it, and I can't tell them a date, so. And then keeping homes the affordable price, because we know that, you know, although materials have leveled off, labor has gone up. Anything oil-based is still somewhat high. So we will have to continue to try to maintain that cost, that area that we've set in that 315 range. And we know that market will sell in this area based upon talking with Thrive, who we've worked with, and also some of the market analysis of the, because these are nice homes. And at the lake, these are selling for $380,000 to $420,000 as standalones. Okay, and then that's not HOA. So we think we're in a good spot there. The other piece of it is we don't know yet till we start opening up pre-sales who's going to be our primary buyers. We've got seniors that will have an interest in it. We may have first-time home buyers, obviously, because of all the jobs that are being created that's needed out there. We've got young professionals. You've got DePaul University. You got the other areas, the hospital. You got attorneys. You know, it's not a long commute to Plainfield or even west side of Indianapolis from here. And then we have the middle income families, which are in apartments right now but want to move out because they want to grow their family. Okay, we don't know yet. We're kind of just following along with what we think is out there based upon the demands in the area. That dollar range we have meets 20% of the market within the Putnam County area. Okay. So what I'm asking, considering, is that we look at work with Aspire Building Group to see if we could probably look at this as a tax increment financing or a TIF, so that we can get some assistance with the infrastructure on this, so we can try to hold the prices down on where we are, and then kind of nail down then what the infrastructure cost would be and start going out for bids if we know that we have some support in that infrastructure cost. That's the real ask.
Okay.
I'm open for questions. Like I said, I wasn't sure how to prepare for the meeting. I just thought I'd do a brain dump with you, everything I've got here in material.
We're not sure either.
Okay, well then we're all on the same page. We just know that we've gotten approval, which was a big hurdle for Greencastle to get approval for a new development. And now we're at a point where we've got to start putting numbers together and figure out how we're going to pay for it.
What is your timeline for the next step? And then that next step means what?
Our next step would be to get the tech approval and then be in a position to put bid sheets out on the infrastructure.
On the infrastructure, okay. And so what are you looking at for that tech? A few months, a few weeks?
We're actually looking at, if we get the approval in August.
I was gonna say, I thought you said.
Yeah, so we would look to get the bid sheets out in that September time period.
Okay. All right.
Once we get the bids out, then it's a matter of then approving those bids, and that's when we'd start the infrastructure. You know, my hopes would be this year, and then we could start, our plan is to build a model in the spring of next year and start pre-sales.
Okay. So then, my next question, Kristen. So we have two different types of a TIF district. We just completed one, so now we're talking about the second model, all right? Which is more complicated. So what type of time frame, or you may not even know, of what kind of time frame it would take to implement something like this?
That goes beyond my expertise by far.
Correct. Hence
Two
back to that dollar amount.
Two
That
types of
we
TIF
need.
districts being, one, residential. When TIF districts were formed, there was only for industrial, commercial, and now they've allowed residential, so that it's a lot easier to form a residential on top of an industrial, so I would not be comfortable with that. And then also, it's a bonding issue, so they need money up front in order to offset costs, as opposed to, oh, well, we're capturing as we go, and and they're saying that those costs will be offset
By the taxes,
by the taxes we pay. So the
about
cost of
$240 a
construction-
year. That's once they're all built and they're paying.
Mhm.
Right, right.
Well, that's once the very first home is sold and they pay tax on it a year later, they can start collecting that. But, you know, you don't have to sell the whole thing, but, yeah, that's correct.
Now,
So-
the property tax would go up on me for the fact is that once the land is developed, the value of that property goes up, because right now it's vacant, so there will be some tax dollars, but not like when the house is built,
Right,
obviously. And then you still have
So
the,
stair step, because right now.
Exactly,
Right now, what I
exactly.
call it's at the base, or the lowest level. You put infrastructure on it, it's gonna be here, then you put a house on it, it's gonna be here.
Right.
So it's kind of a stair step.
and we've projected that we will have this in a 2-year period, so this is not an ongoing project. So once we get started and we get the first model built, our plan is to have this thing built out in 48 months. So,
So if this is something that this group would agree to pursue to help these gentlemen out, what would our first steps be? I don't know, did I ask that question correctly?
Probably to contact bond counsel.
Okay. Okay. All right.
And they would guide you through the
While we're-
formation of the district, the financial impact statement, and move forward with that. And with bond counsel, you're actually selling a bond, I mean, you know, there's.
Oh, I know.
There's layers to that.
Oh,
so
yeah,
it's-
there's layers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Questions
Well,
does everybody have for the gentleman?
based on some exposure to other forums and studies and so forth, you mentioned Thrive. And Stephanie mentioned, hey, we all know that there's a housing shortage. And one of the roadblocks to getting developers to step up in today's environment is having to front load the infrastructure costs. To me, this seems like a perfect thing for a TIF to do. The only problem is, us being able to help is being able to, one, float a bond and then be able to service the bond. When you gotta make payments on a bond. We just talked earlier about, are we gonna have $1,000 or $10,000 we're gonna borrow from the county?
Yeah.
This seems like the perfect thing for this organization to do when it has some, enough money in a fund to be able to service a bond.
It is.
I don't, I can't figure out how if we wanted to help them, I'm not sure how we could do it, I guess is what I'm thinking. I'd be glad to be educated, but I don't see how we connect the dots at this point.
And-
I think this is a great project.
Yes.
I'm,
And when I spoke at some of my conference that I've attended, I've spoken to some of the AIC groups and Brian with the state or whatever, or with AIC, that when we're looking at the TIF stuff, because of the way that they're changing the budgets in the next couple of years, that
revenue sources.
the revenue sources, the more, the home side of things versus the
Industrial side.
industrial side, the home side's the more way to go. Because you're gonna bring those families in where the revenue is coming off of your income tax instead of the property taxes.
Right.
So
Like I said,
it's a great idea, I don't know how to make it work yet, but
Well, by golly, we're gonna figure something out. Maybe, kinda, sorta.
we hope.
Not to get anybody's hopes up.
You guys are very
Mark,
quiet
Mark?
tonight.
Processing? Are we processing? You're right now currently asking yourself, what in heaven's creations did these commissioners get us into? That's what you're asking yourself.
So I think,
How did you know?
I think a good first
Because
step.
I'm asking myself the same question.
I think a good first step might be, to, have a conversation with Cloverdale. Because Cloverdale did a TIF bond for Stardust Hills Road.
Okay?
They got the bond, and then they paid the bond off, and they used Lou Britton, who is a TIF attorney. Lou Britton out of Terre Haute, who used to do all the Terre Haute city redevelopment stuff. But Lou Britton would be, one, I've already talked to Lou knew about both the county and Bainbridge. And he said in order to get one established, it's gonna be between $10,000 and $15,000. A lot of that was because of his time that it takes for him to attend meetings. With Jim Inslee being both the county attorney and the Bainbridge attorney, Jim and I said, well, we can cover that layer. So, you know, you don't have to be, because you don't have to be charging us that kind of money to be running over here. Bill Dory told me that he did the paperwork on the Cloverdale stuff, had Lou look it over, and Bill kind of carried that water, because he was in my role at the time, carried that water, and so it might not hurt to talk to Bill, and he might not want to take that on, but, you know, just to kind of, you know.
How do you get started?
Yeah, push back and forth, but it is, it really, the bond attorney that will then guide you, but it's not a quick or easy process. I mean, you know, in order to get that done, because you gotta sell bonds, so I mean, I don't know what that looks
Well,
like. And
it's
how much-
government, nothing's easy.
Yeah, nothing's
And
Well, this
fast.
one was pretty easy and pretty fast, if we're gonna be honest, because it
No
was the most,
impact.
it was the most basic.
Yeah,
But the more layers you add,
yeah.
it gets complicated, and the attorneys are specialists at that, and they're busy, but they have to put it on the open market too, so that's the problem with that one. This
Okay.
one was a very low-hanging fruit for what we're trying to learn. We're
Yeah.
just learning, so for that one, it would be much more complicated.
So to move this along, because we all have lives.
I got a pass.
Tonight, you're looking for you're darn right, we'll look into it and see what we can figure out, but we can't guarantee anything? Or are you looking for a yes or no, or what's your thoughts?
So what I was looking for, because I think we're all learning it, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but the support on it, and working with us to see if we can get something through on this. Because, you know, we're not tied to the timeline that we are. I mean, if we all worked at it and said, yeah, we think we can do it, and this was gonna cost and all this, and it's gonna take us 6 months, I'd say, well, let's wait 6 months. Let's work through this all. I think that's what I'm looking for, is that it never hurts to ask, it never hurts to try to go through this and get it done.
Okay. So now I'll start with Stephanie. Your thoughts?
No, I think we need to investigate and see what our steps are and if it's even feasible for us to do at this point.
Okay. Bill?
I know.
Mark?
So, on that 1.8 million, so you're asking for it all, or
I'm
help with it? or
I'm asking
anything?
for any assistance, to be honest with you. I wouldn't turn a gift horse away, trust me. You know, and I've even said,
So it could be
if we need
Partial
to,
or full?
yeah, partial or full, and if we even need to assist with the bonding, you know, we could look at that too. But we have so much capital that we've really dedicated toward the build. But, you know, with cash flow, and again, we're still working through all the numbers too. Maybe the cash flow allows us to stave some of that money off to go towards a part of the bond. I don't know. That's why I said, work with us and we'll figure out what we can do.
You're in the beginning stages, we're in the beginning stages,
We just know that
and you just wanna see if these two paths can
if
come
we can get it
together.
together
That's
and
right.
get some housing in.
Yeah, yeah. Any other questions, Mark?
I think it's a good project, I mean, just, like our best, just concerned how we do it.
Okay. Mark?
Well, you know, we're just starting out,
I know. So,
and it's gonna be a learning experience. And it may come up that we can't do anything. But I don't think we can sit back and just
do nothing.
do nothing.
Agreed.
I think it's our responsibility as we're starting the redevelopment commission to start to proceed.
Agreed.
Kristen, do you have anything to add?
The only thing I would add is, because we haven't established a standard meeting date, we can be very flexible, if we're willing to be flexible. And to get a quorum here, we can meet frequently and maybe condense that timeline until it comes to the major, you know what I'm saying? I mean, because we've had to jump through hoops, and yeah, there's 10 days public notice and that kind of stuff, but we can condense. Now that we've got one under our belt and we're comfortable with the concept, we can do some condensation of that. That would be my comment.
Okay. So with that said, my comment would be that yes, no guarantees, see what we can figure out. And we just go from there. I mean, I agree, it's a project that's needed, and I understand your restrictions that you have and when you build a big project like this. So I will reach out to some people that I know, ask some questions, and I know Kristen will too, because she knows 10 times, 100 times more than I do people, and circle back around here. How long are you gone
I'll be back on the 20th. I'll be back for 10 days.
of August?
20th of August, I'll be around till the 1st of
So
September.
if we could tentatively set something to just see if we find what we can find out about this.
Would you like one of us to come into the, I mean, we're willing to sit
Nope.
down with you guys
Yep.
and hash
I'm not
this
saying
out.
I'm not saying we set a meeting tonight for that, but see what we can figure out and get a few answers.
That's great.
Okay.
Another thought. Like I said, I think this is a great thing, it's needed in the community, but this won't be the only, if we can make this work, this won't be the only one we'll get.
Absolutely not.
No, we
So-
may be back, because we've got public
Yeah.
bond.
Well, I'm just saying, as we're thinking about it, we need to keep that in mind. It needs to be repeatable.
I am encouraged that you're working with Bill, because we have worked with Bill quite a bit on this project and other projects, and I know he's been very supportive of it, so maybe some pro bono he might be able to help with, I don't know.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Greatly
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Yes.
Do we have anything else to discuss?
We do have next meeting date, but at this point in time, we're gonna do a little bit of research, and maybe not establish that, until that happens, and once that happens, then I will notify
Okay.
the paper and do the
Have you
agenda.
figured out now that the paper, we have lost the editor
Yes.
of the paper,
Yeah.
so we have to figure out a new way.
Is there a replacement? Maybe?
No, there's no replacement yet. I'm just, because on the county side, we gotta figure out who we talk to and to do notices and I thought last year in legislation, the legislators, made it easier for public notices on websites and things. So we need to research that too. But,
We can ask Ryan. We can ask Ryan.
Yes,
Who can we-
Ryan, he's with the ASE.
Ryan Hall.
Yeah,
Yes.
Legal
For that.
guy.
Yep.
AIC.
yep.
Okay, does anybody else have anything to add?
So we're not putting a date on the mark.
We are not putting a date on this yet.
Okay,
But I noted that you won't be back till the 20th, so,
okay, so, and then, but then
For
I'm
10
gone.
days.
yeah.
For 10 days, I'm just,
And then will we be back for?
then I'm just gone for 8 days, and then I'm back for the rest of the year.
Oh, that's gonna stink.
Yeah, well, we got things we gotta get done.
And
But
guys-
then, starting next spring, we're gone again, so.
Guys, what about your schedules? Are you flexible, or are you guys planning on being on for the whole month of August, or September, or October?
I'm sure I'll be gone at least a couple weeks, probably in September, nail down the dates.
And again, we just have to have a quorum,
Yep.
so, not everybody has to be present as well, so.
Okay, with that said, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, I greatly appreciate everyone for coming out this Wednesday evening.
Thank you, guys.
Better see
So
about
the,
leaving that guy.
The second floor